It was amazing that this came about, Made in Dagenham, which is, you know, written by men, but is a story about women, and that it was deemed fit for the West End, and it's been incredible to see that. I think it's the first feminist musical, really, that has, you know, become big, and people love it, and it's funny because most of the people that go to the theatre are women.
But she said it was just wonderful to see a chorus of strong female voices, and interestingly, she said it was great not to see a strong, powerful woman be a villain in the piece, which I thought was quite interesting, as I suppose when you think of all the great parts, they're kind of tragi heroines, aren't they?
Yes.
These sort of Medea,
Lady M,
Lady M,
yeah, even Cleopatra.
Indeed.
So many musicals with women, female leads. Miss Saigon, Beautiful, Made in Dagenham, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. I mean, it goes on, and that's new. I think that's quite new.
It's a really important piece of theatre, which is still very, very current in society at the moment, because I feel as though no matter how much we try and keep pushing for equality, women are still slightly seen as lesser, or seen as though we have responsibilities somewhere else rather than in the workplace. And I think that's it. You assume that as a woman your main aim should be to be a mother and nothing else.
The men, in fact, are less strong in this show than the women are. The women are the leads, if you like. They're the forces of nature and the forces for equality, the forces for all sorts of positivity. And the men are sort of not quite so strong. And that is unusual in a play. Very, very unusual. Nearly in all plays, the women are very much the supporting characters, supporting the men in every way, particularly if you like in Shakespeare, for example. But so I'm really proud to be in the show, and what's lovely is that every evening, really, and it really is every evening, the audience response to the show is absolutely extraordinary, and we very often see people putting their hands up in support of us. And the thing that touches me very often, and I think all of us, is the fact that sometimes the first people to put their hands up are very often men.
Last night I had my uncle in, who is quite right-wing and sexist, and from that generation of men that thought, I mean, his wife, my auntie Wendy, she's not worked a day in her life, and she's a stay-at-home wife, and I was kind of nervous to show it to him, because I thought, I've got to convince him that this story is worthy, that this is right, the story that we're telling. And he loved it. And equally, I had friends in last week that they brought their teenage daughters, and they were just absolutely inspired.
And she said, you know, I keep thinking about the night I saw the show and how we all left the theatre on this huge high, thinking, yes, yes, the women did it, the women did it. I think one of the words is that keeps coming back is inspirational. Inspirational for the time and for us today.
It would be so nice if we saw more of this, especially in the West End and in theatre. More parts for women over 20, more parts for women that are mothers, more parts for real women dealing with real things in their daily lives, and dealing with things to be able to stand up for things that they know are wrong. My character is very inarticulate, but she understands if something is wrong. And these women in Dagenham together started off because they just knew that they were treated badly and unfairly, and they just wanted to be given the same amount of money for the same job as the men. That's all.
Still today, women get, I think they get paid £2.53 less an hour than men do. So for every pound a man earns, a woman gets 80 pence. So we're still not quite equal. We've got a long way to go, but I hope we're getting there.
And it's one of the things I love about the show, that there are so many women who are strong and feisty. There's Rita, there's Barbara, there's Lisa, who says, absolutely do this, make history, go forward. Plenty of women have wanted to do it in the past. Some, like Rosa Parks, have been brave enough. Plenty probably never got the wind in their sails. But do this thing, because the problem stays if you don't challenge it.
You can't have your cake and eat it, which I always thought was the most stupid phrase I ever heard growing up. That's the one I remember the most. Ever. And that seems a lot, you know, loads of women seem to spend their whole time making the most beautiful cake and never getting a slice for themselves. And I think it's about time you had a bit of cake.
Made in Dagenham, which is about women, women's rights, being eventually supported by the men, is a very important message, I think, for all women and indeed all men.
You know, they're compelled to get up, and that for me is more than theatre, you know. That is something else. And that's very rare in theatre, I think, to have that response. Like a genuine, heartfelt, not just, oh, we had a great time, but I believe in what you've said and I'm moved. That's really special, and that's something I'll never forget from doing this show.